Hello, you beautiful soul. It's so good to be back. Thank you for being so patient as we've had some time away. I'm coming in with a solo episode today. So I'm super excited to be sharing some things with you. As I left with the last episode, the Mon and I were going to have some time away. And yeah, who knows what that looks like moving forward. But I really wanted to jump on and do a solo episode and just update you on a few things that have been going on in my life that I feel that are really profound. And today's episode is really based around a few key points. So I really want to speak into the sacred matrix and what it actually is. Um, and what I've learned in my time as well through my plant medicine journey, but also through education. Yeah, with many magical teachers and understandings of life and what the matrix actually is about. And I also really want to speak into a retreat, an all women's retreat that I went to, and speak about the nakedness of authenticity, the nakedness of our bodies, and how sisterhood coming together is such an important piece in the evolution of the feminine, this feminine rising, especially. And then I have a secret, beautiful little thing that I would love to share. Not really a secret, but I'd love to share at the very end as well. So let's dive straight in. So I have been away for a little while now. I've had a lot of time to integrate my ayahuasca ceremony that I went to. It was a 5-day retreat and full ceremonies. For anyone that's done ayahuasca, could understand and respect that it takes a lot of integration, understanding, unpacking, and bringing it back into everyday life, the lessons and the profoundness that one can experience. And because I dedicate so much of my energy and so much of my awareness and intention in my ceremonies, I get really profound insight and answers and spiritual growth, which is really incredible. Now, my journeys were really, really powerful. You know, there was some times that I had some really challenging times, especially on night 3. I wasn't sure that I wanted to do the full ceremony because it was so intense and was so, um, it was a lot for me. But I'm really glad that I did sit for the fourth time because I was able to be rebooted and completely reprogrammed, completely reprogrammed through every cell of my body, every DNA cell that I have within me and my entire existence. And so much has changed for me since then. And, you know, I'm going through this cycle. In astrology at the moment where for the next like 18 months, probably like 16 months now, things are getting really, really challenging for me. Lots of awakenings that are happening. And because I know that this is coming, it's really beautiful for me to see the awareness piece. Oh, yeah, this is happening, these challenges coming for me, but it's always coming for my growth, right? It's really important to understand that. So I really want to touch on the sacred matrix and what it is, what the matrix actually is, right? So myself used to say this as well, is that I've escaped the matrix, and you know you can't tie me down, and I'm a free spirit, which is true, absolutely, but you can't escape the matrix. You can escape the system. So the system is working 9 to 5, paying taxes, governments, and all of those things, right? Having to go to school and be in the system as per se, but that's not necessarily the matrix. And it's interesting because the movie The Matrix is similar in about that, about understanding that, you know, to some degree, we're all trained and conditioned to live in a society of expectations. You must grow up and you must work X amount of hours. You must make a certain amount of money to be deemed worthy or successful or whatever that may be in that point in time, depending on, you know, where you're at in your journey or what you were taught, but it all has the same concept. It has the same concept as, and this is the system we're talking about, but it has the same concept as in terms of, for example, the calendar year. The calendar year was created back in the is it the medieval times or the Roman times? It was created back in the Roman times, and it was created to pay taxes, strictly for pay taxes. So January 1st is the beginning of the year, and December 31st is the last day of that year. That's not entirely true. And that is not our truth. That is in terms of the system and to pay taxes, etc. But it's not true in our calendar year. So each and every individual has a calendar year based on the day that they were born through to the day that they were born again. That is your calendar year. And in astrology, it's really important to understand that because we cycle with the moon, we cycle with the seasons. So by putting ourselves in a box in the system, it can create um, a lot of disease, a lot of distrust, a lot of confusement, a lot of these feelings and emotions that come through, these moods that come through where we might not feel that we're doing enough, or that, for example, around Christmas time, things can be so chaotic, right? Because we have to do this, and this. It's all of this system based concept. But what the matrix actually is the DNA design code and structure, the geometry that is made within us. We are geometry. So the matrix is patterns, consistent patterns, and understanding how we go from, for example, point A to point B. So the first dimension to the second dimension to the third dimension. Now, I just want to unpack this just a little bit. The more that you try to escape or run away from or repress something, the more that it comes back into your life, right? It comes back as a cycle. Now, we as humans have patterns. We've had patterns from the very, very beginning of evolution. So when we were with tiny DNA cells at the bottom of the ocean, when they expanded and were created into a matrix system, right? And the matrix system being point A to point B to point C, and then the pattern of that, geometry was formed. So, for example, if you think about a triangle, we must continue new patterns. So, to evolve or to transcend or to transform, we must evolve and understand the conscious, the unconscious, and the subconscious mind, and how we can integrate and understand and live a little bit more conscious, become aware of the unconscious, change the unconscious, and integrate the subconscious as well, right? To really understand that. Now, just to unpack that just a little bit more for those that may not understand what the conscious mind is and the subconscious mind is and the conscious mind. So if we're thinking mind being mind, body, spirit, soul, that's what mind is. But within this concept, we have the conscious mind, which is the awareness state, the awareness of this microphone, the awareness of my body, the awareness of you walking right now or driving or whatever it is that you're doing. It's the awareness piece. That is the consciousness. The subconscious lives deep rooted within the mind or within the brain, but within the mind. And it is all the patterns and habits and beliefs and stories and ancestral patterns that are already there, that have already been created, or something that has come into the forefront of the mind or the brain. It has been put and placed in a section within the body, within the mind, within the brain. But we are continuously accessing this point unconsciously. And unconscious means, our unconscious being not aware of. So not aware of, um, not aware that it's happening. So, for example, an unconscious habit might be getting up in the morning and instantly getting up out of bed and going to straight away brush your teeth. No longer really have to think about it. It just becomes an unconscious pattern. It's just a pattern. We as humans live on patterns. That's how we live. We can never escape that. We can never escape the matrix because we are the conscious observers of our reality. We are the conscious observers of the matrix. The matrix is made up of the cell structure, the geometry, the biology, the physiologically of our minds, of our brains, of our whole system, our whole cells. But what we can do, as I said, is we can change that. So just wanted to just touch on that because I feel like it's a really important piece to understand. Yeah, so when I was in one of my journeys, I became the understanding that of what the actual matrix was and that we can't escape it. You know, Mama Aya specifically told me you cannot escape the matrix, you are the matrix. And I was shown sacred geometry and all of these codes and all of these things that I actually as a human cannot understand. Like I can understand, but I cannot um give it language because it see, even trying to think about how do I bring this knowledge and share it, it potentially is not my purpose here on this earth, and that may be why I am unable to share it. But it's kind of like a light code. If you've ever had a download or of a light code, just like trying to explain what a light code is to someone, it's like, well, kind of can't really explain it. It just is. It's a vibration. It's a vibrational frequency of energy. Energy has an intelligence, etc., etc. So, yeah, really interesting concept. And just recently in my inbox, actually, in my email inbox, I received from, um, I'm subscribed to quite a lot of spiritual and knowledgeable things through like Gaia and through all of the woo woo stuff, like through ETs, through Matthias Di Stefano, who is a rememberer of all of like his past lives, a rememberer of. Um, the universe, how it was created, and all of that magic. Highly recommend that you go look him up, by the way. Oh, he's just incredible. And my soul understands what he speaks of. And you know, it's an interesting concept because we can learn something from someone, but if they're not speaking our language, then we can't quite understand it. You know, like you might be listening to this podcast going, what the fuck is she talking about? And rightfully so. But you also might be listening to this podcast and go, holy shit, I really understand what she's saying. Or something within me knows that. I know that. I feel that. Yeah. So I received this email and it was understanding the matrix and the concept of the unconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious mind, which I already teach and I already know. But this was taught in a way of understanding the matrix and understanding the patterns and super incredible. It was such an incredible, yeah, an incredible masterclass to watch, and it just reactivated this remembering of what I experienced in an ayahuasca journey and ceremony, which was just so profound and so powerful. Yeah, so that's a little bit about the matrix and what I really wanted to speak into, but. Something else I really want to touch on as well is just recently. I just recently went to a 3 day all women's retreat, and the retreat was based on based on leaning into your fear and accepting yourself as a woman wholeheartedly in your nakedness. So within this space, we got naked. We did ceremonies, we did sacred practices, we swam, we did like this clay process where we connected with the earth. It was really interesting. We actually even there was like holes that were dug in the ground. It was like coming completely back to the earth. There was holes that were dug in the ground where you would wee or that you would, you know, you would do a number two there, which I've never actually done. Like like intentionally before. And it was such a liberating experience, to like just to fully let go and to drop all of the veils, not worry about hair, not worry about makeup, not worry about what anyone else was thinking, because everybody there, every woman there was vulnerable, every woman there was real, was authentic. And it was this incredible experience of just being accepted in your allness, in the whole of your essence, in the beauty of who you truly are as a woman, which is wild, which is free, which is open, which is loving, which is giving, which just is, which is wild again and wild. It was such a liberating experience. It was so transformational for me. I just remember feeling like I just can't wait to get naked in front of these women and children and just be completely liberated. Nothing sexual about it, because nakedness is not sexual, right? We've just been conditioned to believe that we can't be naked in a certain area, in a certain place, or can't be naked around children because that's sexual. Why would you do that? There's all this stigma based on what is our natural state. Like, we are born naked, we come into this world naked. How do you feel when you're naked? I invite you. I invite you to just sit with that for a moment. How do you feel when you're naked? What does that feel like to you? Are you able to get naked in front of other people and not be icky or feel icky about that? Maybe you can't, because I sure as know that I couldn't before this process. And I mean, look, I've had a program called Awakening the Wild Woman Within, which is an incredible 12-week journey, which I'll be starting again soon, doing an intake for next year. And it's an incredible journey. And we slowly start to tap into a little bit of that nakedness and getting out in nature, and doing some embodiment practices, which are really sacred and really beautiful, and allows that full expression to start to awaken that is within us as a woman or as a man, right? Whatever you identify with, it doesn't really matter, but it's still feeling that exact same moment, that liberation, that freedom of just being able to just be without someone judging or creating a stigma based on what you look like, or what you think that you should look like, or what you think that you should do. It's incredible, right? It was such a liberating experience for me. Like, I know that it took myself about 7 days to even integrate and to comprehend some of the things that I felt and moved through within that space. It was really incredible. Like when we were doing ecstatic dance, I was able to move through some sacred rage. I was able to move energy. Thanks to my recent ayahuasca ceremony, I have been able to tap into energy healing times 10, compared to what I was doing before. So now I can actually see energy on a day to day basis, which is really profound, right? But I can move it as well, stagnant energy, like just picking it up and just moving it and bringing it down and swelling it and clearing it, clearing the energy, which is, yeah, not something that I was aware I could even do prior. But yeah, it was such an incredible experience, and really moving. It was really moving just to be able to be witnessed in all of my vulnerability. And from this space, it has allowed me to be more open and be more vulnerable to those that come into my life, for myself. It has really unlocked and awoken so many things that are within me. Mm. Hmm. Exciting times ahead. Exciting times ahead. There is quite a lot of change happening in my world. But that's just a little bit of an update. I wanted to keep this podcast super, super short and super sweet. And yeah, may you enjoy it. Now, I have a really exciting announcement that I have just launched my very first 3-day in-person retreat. I've been running retreats all year this year, women's retreats. I've been running women's retreats all year, that have gone anywhere from 4 hours to 6 hours, and they've been really beautiful. But there's been such a high demand to run a weekend retreat, and yeah, it's going to be really sacred. So I will send the link below. Take a look, and if you feel called to join in, come along. We would absolutely love to have you there. I also have a payment option plan available as well. Depending on whenever you're listening to this podcast, it might have passed, or yeah. So just reach out to me on Instagram, if you feel called to yeah, be a part of this space. It's going to be so magical. We've got some really, really incredible things that are going to be that I'm channeling through, for this space. And yeah, I really want to leave this podcast with a really beautiful, mm, a really beautiful moment for you to understand that you're never alone. When we experience and understand from a soul's purpose who we are, sometimes we can be a little bit lonely within life, understand that we're more than just a human, or not know that. And, I know, depending on when you listen to this podcast, it is close to Christmas here from when it's going to be released. And it can bring up a lot, for people as well, that may be feeling quite lonely. So I really thought that this beautiful little gentle meditation, this gentle practice, might help you in a state that you might just feel and cultivate just a little bit more love within your life, and just to understand that you're actually not alone. So I invite you to close down your eyes if it's safe enough for you to. Start to become aware of your breath, taking some nice, big, juicy breaths. Letting go of any tension that you might be feeling. And I just want you to imagine that you're sitting at a table. And at this table, you are surrounded by people, beings, ancestors, spirits, people that have passed, beings, animals, totems, anything that feels aligned with you. Call in your guides. Who are your guides? Bring them and invite them to sit at this table as they all start to take a seat now. You want to invite your inner child into this table as well. Take a seat here. Maybe your inner teenager too. And sit down at this table and just notice that who is here. Maybe you have one person. Maybe you have one being. Maybe you have 50. Whatever is here, just know that that is absolutely perfect within this moment, within this time. And I want you just to feel into the presence, those in the space around you now. Feeling into the presence now. And just feeling into that, and noticing that within this space, whenever you feel lonely, all you need to do is close down your eyes and imagine this table, and call in your people, call in your beings, call in your spirits, call in your guides, call in whoever is coming in that is there for your greatest higher good, and here to support you on this journey, to support your soul on this journey, this evolution that we call life. Magic. And just taking a moment now to say thank you with grace and love to those that have been here at this table with you today. And very gently coming back into your body and coming back into the here, into the now. And notice that, how you're feeling right now. And to know that you're never alone. You are surrounded by so many beings, so many animals, so many spirits, so many ancestors, so many guides, so much more than you could possibly ever even imagine. That is walking this earth, that is walking across different dimensions, across different timelines with you right now. All you need to do is close your eyes and look inwards, and you will be able to see that you are never alone. I'm sending you so much love, so much magic. I love you.